This is something you all have been requesting for a long time. After much effort, I finally found 3 stories that take place during school lockdowns. It was a typical dull day in calculus, Friday, 7th period, meaning the week was almost over and spring break was finally near. Everyone was getting restless in their seats. Unlike many of my friends, we didn't have a test that day, so our laid-back teacher decided to play games with us on sporkle.com. While we were taking a quiz on brand logos, I remember the exact moment it happened. Just after my friend answered a question, I remember the answer too. Adidas. The dean's voice crackled through the loudspeaker. He sounded panicked as he instructed all teachers to go into lockdown. I felt chills run down my spine as our usually calm teacher hurried to turn off the lights and ushered us into the back corner of the room. We sat in silence for about 2 minutes until the familiar buzzing from a panel in the back of the room stopped, indicating that the school had cut the power. We exchanged worried glances, realizing that this situation was serious. A few minutes later, we heard a man screaming at the top of his lungs in the hallway. 2 girls in our class started crying, which only heightened our fear. As the screaming drew closer, the man began banging on the lockers, shouting, "I'll kill all of you." At that moment, I truly feared for my life. My teacher shushed us as we looked at each other, trying to gauge our peers' reactions. The banging then shifted to our classroom door, and one of the crying girls screamed, "No!" The pounding on the door intensified as the man yelled, "Open up!" By now, 2 girls were crying openly. It felt like an eternity as he pounded on the door, but eventually, he moved down the hallway, continuing to scream until we could no longer hear him. About 10 minutes later, which felt like half an hour, the dean returned to the loudspeaker to explain the situation. He revealed that a mentally unstable individual had entered the building and assaulted the woman at the front desk, causing her to flee in terror. Staff were unsure whether the man was armed. This incident occurred before the school had cameras or proper security measures, making it vulnerable to such events. The staff conducted a sweep of the hallways and classrooms but couldn't find him. The dean instructed teachers to resume their lessons, keep all doors locked, and not let any students leave for any reason. The most disturbing part was that a janitor working the night shift found the man sleeping in a storage closet at the back of the school. According to rumors spread by my peers, a .44 Magnum was sticking out of his pocket. The janitor must have done something foolish to wake him, like leaving the closet door open, because by the time the police arrived, the man was gone. To this day, my entire class remains unaware of whether he was ever found, but I like to think he is receiving the help he needs. My school has 2 lunch periods, the first for all 6th graders and some 7th graders, and the second for the remaining 7th graders and all 8th graders. The lockdown occurred in early October on an overcast, rainy day. During the first lunch period, I heard 4 loud booms. Initially, I thought it was thunder, but the entire lunch crowd erupted in screams. I dismissed them as overreacting, but then campus security rushed in, shouting for everyone to move to the multi-purpose room. Students in line for lunch had to discard their food and hurry inside. My friends and I joined a large group of kids in the multi-purpose room, which has a huge back wall made of see-through glass. As we were ushered in, security began covering the glass with curtains, and adults stood at every exit. My friend Eric, curious about what was happening, asked one of the adults for information. When he returned, he said, "You know those houses right in front of TMS? There's a mentally unstable man barricaded in front of his house, threatening to commit suicide and kill the cops if they try to evict him. He was walking around outside watching kids in a strange way." We later learned he was also a registered sex offender, which made the situation even more alarming. We were stuck in the multi-purpose room for about an hour, missing 2 periods. After the situation was resolved, we were escorted back to our classrooms one by one. I later found out that the man lived next to my friend Brandy. She recounted a previous Halloween when she saw him at his window, cutting his arm and writing in his own blood, "Don't come here or I'll kill you." At the time, people, including Brandy, thought it was just a Halloween prank. But after this horrifying incident, we realized how serious the situation was and felt relieved he never approached us. Now, at 22 years old and fresh out of college, I recently got a job as a computer intern at my old high school. The basement of the school is messy and disorganized, but there's a small, well-equipped office down there with 3 large desks, 2 mini fridges, a flat-screen TV, and air conditioning, a luxury the students and teachers lack. I got this job because 3 of my former computer teachers adored me, and they helped me land it. Everything had been going well until something happened a few weeks ago. My 2 coworkers, Dave and Gary, were upstairs working when I received a phone call from a woman in the front office, informing me that the school was on lockdown due to a possibly armed individual inside the building. With no door to our office and the basement door lacking a working lock, I turned off the lights for my safety. I texted both Gary and Dave, but they didn't respond. Sitting in the dark, I played games on my phone for about 20 minutes, waiting for the call to resume work. Suddenly, I heard the basement door creak open, and footsteps approached my office. I pushed my chair away and crawled under the desk. Someone entered the office without turning on the lights. I was paralyzed with fear, thinking that making any noise could be fatal. Just then, my phone dinged with a text message. My heart raced. I felt like my world was collapsing. Footsteps drew closer, and I panicked, diving out from under the desk and begging whoever it was not to kill me. A man in a red plaid shirt and a reddish-black cap grabbed my arm and pulled me up. "It's okay," he said. "I'm just hiding down here with you. What's going on up there?" I whispered my question, but he seemed to ignore it and asked if there was an exit down here. I pointed him in the direction of the exit, then asked, "Who are you?" There was a brief silence before he explained that he had come to pick up his son when a teacher told him to hide. I checked my phone and saw a text from Dave. "Dude, this is crazy. Some guy with a gun shot Mr. Buckley. He's wearing a red shirt and hat. Whatever you do, don't come upstairs." I was about to read the text aloud to the man when I looked up and felt my stomach drop. He noticed my suspicious gaze, and panic set in. I bolted for the stairs just as a gunshot echoed through the basement, followed by the sound of a bullet ricocheting off something metallic. Miraculously, I escaped unharmed and made it upstairs. Fortunately, police were waiting at all exits, including the basement, and apprehended the man as soon as he opened the door. The good news was that our teacher, Mr. Buckley, survived the gunshot. It was later revealed that he had some sort of conflict with the man, although the details were never disclosed. All we know is that Mr. Buckley did nothing to deserve such a violent reaction, and the sound of that gunshot will forever echo in my mind.